There are 3 more days until the 2021 NFL Draft, and today I'm going to be talking about everything we know about what the Jets might do in this year's NFL Draft. But before we get started, I'm going to please ask you to hit the subscribe button if you are new, hit the like button if you end up enjoying today's video, and follow me on social media. Links are down below in the description. Well, now let's talk about everything we know the New York Jets might do in this year's NFL Draft. At pick number 2, we know the New York Jets are going to be selecting Zach Wilson, and there's clear-cut cookie evidence supporting it as well. Steve Young, former BYU quarterback, made some comments saying that the New York Jets are committed to Zach Wilson. Whenever Joe Douglas was asked about these comments, he smiled and said that Steve Young is pretty tapped in at BYU. Zach Wilson also spoke to Chad Pennington, Mark Sanchez, and Josh McCown on how to deal with the media market and things regarding the New York Jets. So it's safe to say that Zach Wilson is going to be the pick at number 2. About a week ago, US Stadium released a list of every single player the Jets have spoken to during this year's draft process. Since it was released about a week ago, the Jets have probably spoke to more players since that time, but we don't know if they've done that or not. So here's every player the New York Jets have spoken to so far. Starting off with the running backs, we have Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis, Travis Etienne from Clemson, Najee Harris from Alabama, Michael Carter from UNC, Jarrett Patterson from Buffalo, Kenyon Ngwani from Iowa State, Javian Hawkins from Louisville, Jamar Jefferson from Oregon State, UCLA's Demetric Felton, and Virginia Tech's Khalil Hebert. Onto the receivers, we have Frank Darby from Arizona State, Anthony Schwartz and Eli Stowe from Auburn, Rashad Bateman from Minnesota, Kadarius Toney from Florida, Devonta Smith from Alabama, Rondell Moore from Purdue, Ahir Smith-Marset from Iowa, and Amari Rodgers from Clemson. Onto the tight ends, we have Tommy Tremble from Notre Dame, Jacob Harris from UCF, and Brevion Jordan from Miami. Interesting thing to note about Jacob Harris is that he played some receiver during his time at college, and that the NFL split on what position he is going to play. I actually have his pro comparison to Darren Waller, because they both played receiver during college, but might be forced to change to tight end because of their size and their weight. And the guy ran like a 4.40, so he could be a sneakily good grab by the New York Jets in a day 3 round, and hopefully we end up drafting him. Next, on to the offensive linemen, we have Lenar Coleman from Massachusetts, Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State, Elijah Vera Tucker from USC, Middle Tennessee State's Robert Jones, David Moore from Grambling, and Oklahoma's Creed Humphrey. Almost said Oklahoma State right there. Now onto the interior defensive linemen, we have Darius Stills from West Virginia, Ayon McNeil from NC State, Washington's Levi, I'm not going to pronounce that last name, and Notre Dame's not even going to try to pronounce his name. Sorry, guys. Now onto the edge rushers, we have Max Roberts from Boston College, Dalian Hayes from Notre Dame, Jonathan Cooper from Ohio State, Cameron Murray from Oklahoma State, and Erlison Smith from Northern Iowa. Now onto the linebackers, we have Jacoby Stevens from LSU, Zaven Collins from Tulsa, and KJ Britt from Auburn. And finally, onto the defensive backs, we have Greg Newsome II from Northwestern, Darian Hall from South Dakota State, Jordan Peters to Auburn, Trill Williams from Syracuse, Elijah Molden from Washington, Benjamin St. Juste from Minnesota, and Jonathan Bledsoe from Missouri. Now, some interesting things to note about this list is that we spoke to more running backs than any other position, so I definitely expect the Jets to draft a running back. And we spoke to a lot of receivers expected to go around the pick 23 range, and we also spoke to Etienne and Najee Harris, so maybe the pick at 23 could surprise some people. But we also spoke to Vera Tucker, Creed Humphrey, Tevin Jenkins, Greg Newsome, and probably some more players since this list was released, so I doubt the pick is going to be something that will shock us. And expect the New York Jets to trade up in this year's draft. In Douglas's latest press conference, he has said that he has already started doing groundwork on potentially moving up in this year's draft. So if there's a player we really want, there wouldn't be much for us to do to go ahead and trade up and get him. Now, one team that could be a trade partner with us in this year's draft could be the Philadelphia Eagles. Douglas worked for the Eagles from 2016 to 19, and news broke out that Howie Roseman, the Eagles general manager, has been making a lot of calls about moving in the first round. So since Douglas has connections to the Eagles, he could have called Roseman about pick number 12. And in general, just expect the New York Jets to trade up at any point in this year's draft. Well, this is everything I know about what the New York Jets might do in this year's draft. If you have any thoughts about the video, or you just want to have a conversation about the New York Jets in general, comment it down below. Hopefully I can get you to hit the subscribe and like button. Well, I'm your host, Jude, signing off for now. See you later.